do this at all. And I have to make sure that I can even do this. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'll go ahead and just shoot out the link. Let's go ahead and let's gather all of your information. It's a pretty simple process. Let's, do you have some time? I know it's Friday now, but do you have some time on Monday, Tuesday where we can meet? You can come to the office. We can walk through it because we have one opportunity to make sure when we submit this to an underwriting team, we have one shot. And if we don't submit it the right way, it's going to result in a denial. And I know a lot of lenders probably won't tell you this up front because they don't want to rock the boat, but having done this for 28 years and have done thousands of loans, we have to make sure we get this right.
Now that's solid. I left that fear tactic, Ohio State. I mean, this could I left all that out. That is very
because it's true though, right? If you submit it the wrong way, it's denied.
I mean, Alex, we could literally blow our leg off if we did this wrong. This is this could literally backfire. Right. Now, I didn't, let me say this. I loved Angle. She struck me throughout the call as if, and remember Vanderbilt University, they have all sorts of internal banks that want all the employees' business. They get marketed to all the time. Something struck me, Michael, that this, she just kind of wah. She was not oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's good to hear. Shit, what should I do? She didn't give me any angle when I started to pry that this could be an issue. Right. She agreed that her loan wasn't cookie cutter and that she couldn't call Rocket Mortgage. But I didn't expose that further. So point number one, Michael, here's the funny part. Pretend you got the same phone call and you said that. Yeah. And now she's already under application with you. You guys get it? That subtle nuance that Michael just gave that I didn't could be the very reason why Michael, who let's say he's the other guy on the other end of the line because she's shopping it, gets the deal. Does it?
Yeah. I think you still have that opportunity though, right?
I do. Yeah. But here's the thing. Sometimes that could win the deal if all rates are equal. Right.
Could it also lose the deal because now she doesn't have confidence that you can close it? And
could be
the guy who says, "Oh yeah, no problem, that's great."
You know what? Then blow it out. I mean, I think if you lead with the confidence and the experience, I mean, you could lose it. I mean, right. But if she's shopping 7 different lenders, then I mean, it's an uphill battle anyway.
All right. So anybody else have any commentary on the initial dialogue, how they might have handled it differently? Because I essentially got myself set up to give her a mortgage scale via email.
Brendan.
There was no, I need a Smart Start meeting. I'm coming in.
One thing I wanted to mention just now after that comment that David made was I recently had a meeting with an agent. We closed a very difficult deal where it started very much like this one, Brendan. They didn't want to meet. I tried to set up meetings. All of a sudden they were under contract and it was me and one other lender. Income was weird. So there was definitely a wrinkle, and it was me and the other guy. And I was just super honest with them and then ended up winning the deal. We closed it. It was a tough one, but we got it done. I followed up with the agent. We had coffee and I said, what do you think the determining factor was why they went with me versus the other lender? Just, total transparency. What do you think it was? And he literally said, I think it's because you didn't make it sound like it was going to be such an easy loan. You said that it could be difficult, but the other guy made it sound like it was going to be no problem. Now, and I literally was like, really? They went with me because I made it sound like it was going to be harder to get their loan with me. So I was pretty blown away by that response. And I just went back to well, I'm glad I was super transparent up front because guess what? It was a tough loan to do, but we got it done. So That being said, I'd say definitely personality of the client matters in that
Mhm.
scenario. Like some
100%.
people who are not realists are going to be, you know, they just are going to jump at the easy option. But I think a lot of people gravitate toward if you just shoot them straight from the very beginning.
Mhm.
It worked out for me in this scenario.
Andy, I'm so glad you brought that up. Here's why. When you were telling that story, I started to think, what type of buyer am I? And it 100% depends on how I frame what is going in to whatever scenario it is. So I'll give you an example. If I want to replace my windows and some guy shows up and is like, oh my God, I mean, Brendan, like, my name's Sam Price. I'm from Anderson Windows. And like, we potentially have a problem with your $2 million home. I mean, this is like, I've been walking around your house for a couple of hours here, and I just wanted to get into a deep conversation about your windows and the concerns I have. I'd be like, Sam, you're a lying, peddling, you fuck off. You're about to sell me some garbage Anderson package for $100,000. You're scaring me, and your scare tactics don't work. Okay,
Can
and
you
I
at
love
least do a good voice of mine?
my name is Sam Bryce.
I mean, it hurts. It
My
hurts.
family comes from the valley of Hosea in the land of Israel, and we've migrated to Chicago to sell windows to people like you. But by the way, my buddy Tony Lyon, who you have to meet, Sam, he's a doctor in New York, and he's the funniest man. And he was in my fraternity. He went to Emory. The three of us have to have a conversation on Zoom. You will love this man. So back to the point, Andy. I think it's how they perceive the frame of what they're getting ready to do. And so whatever you did perfectly, you framed that it is a little more complicated than they thought, and they were receptive to that. And by the way, I'm with David on some people who, if they think that they have an 800 credit score and their loan is super easy, and you pull the Michael discussion, like, hey, whoa, Michael Anthony here. Hey, just want to put my foot in the doorway and just tell you that there is a little bit of a possible problem. If someone is so confident, and Michael, the most recent one I can think of that I lost was this chiropractic doctor that I lost his deal twice. And each time he just ghosted me. He was referred by a realtor. And I always thought his deal was a little harder than he thought his deal was. And I let him know that. And every single time I got ghosted. So
Yeah.
I think both of you are right. I think, Andy, the fact that you followed up with a realtor to say, hey, why did I win that deal? And you found out. I mean, I'm always going to be this guy. If it sounds hard, why would I be anything but direct and say, hey, your loan is not straightforward?
Right.
Does that make
Exactly.
sense? So like, if someone is an 800 with 2 W-2 jobs and they've got 150 grand sitting in a checking account, and you're like, hey, I think your loan could be difficult, then it's like you're just using that as a tactic, and it's probably not good. With the lady, so here's where we are, flash forward, so we can get this exercise in and then get on to some good stuff. I sent her, so this is how I followed up. I don't know if we posted. I just said good, because I talked to the agent yesterday and said, hey, I'd sent her an estimate on Tuesday night. I texted her on Wednesday. Did she want to come in? I haven't heard anything. And I called Molly yesterday. Molly called me back, said, hey, we're under contract for 9/10, closing March 16th, seller pay and title. And I'm like, okay, which title company are we using? And she said, oh, we're using some, I'd never heard of them. And I said, hey, are you aware of, that she's aware that they're getting a divorce, which, by the way, she found out last week, and they're friends. So she said, yeah. She goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, first American title, Chicago title, like when you're married in the state of Tennessee and you're buying an owner occupied dwelling, her husband, like, there is title insurance, but most likely he's going to have to sign some of the marital docs, because if she's claiming it as owner occupied, it just gets a little sticky. How well do you know the title company? And she goes, I don't really like this title company. I only use them because my boss tells me I have to. And I said, well, we may want to, just find out how they want to do this, because it could get a little complicated. Michael, back to your point, right? Now, this is me and the agent talking.
Yeah.
So ultimately, she agreed. She sent me the contract. I sent over the estimate, an updated estimate, which, by the way, if the market's improved 2 or 3 times, the rates I pulled Tuesday afternoon, I mean, riddle me this, Batman. My rates yesterday when I pulled were the same. How did we have no improvement after like 36 or like, I mean, we had quite improvement yesterday. Or no?
Yeah, there you go. You're going to lose it today. So,
Oh, we're going to lose. Wait, Mike, the rates Thursday were the same as the rates Tuesday afternoon after the reprice
yeah, I don't
on
know.
my rate. Huh?
I'm just saying where you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it when they come out today. But
Meaning that market's worse again?
yeah, it's 44 down. But let me ask you a question. Going back to this woman, because you're obviously the best or most consistent with asking for the meeting. Did you ask her for the meeting?
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Okay.
I sent the estimate, and then I followed up Wednesday morning saying, hey, I sent over some figures for your review. I shot her an email. Would you like to come in?
No, I'm talking about the initial call, because that's usually when you're setting up your meeting, as that initial phone call.
Yeah, I had meant I would like to record that conversation. I believe with 90% accuracy that I said, hey, normally I meet with Molly's clients. I have an outline of what we go through. I think that would be helpful, because you just mentioned you might want to put 50% down. How did you come to that decision? And I think she said, well, I don't want to have a payment over a certain amount. And then I said, oh, okay. So how are you calculating your payment? I just said that. And then she was like, what do you mean? I said, what interest rate are you using?
See, I think you're getting, and again, listen, I'm not,
Yeah.
and again, this is just 10,000 foot overview. I think you got maybe intimidated by her and maybe her tone, her questions, right? And that's happened to me too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
I
don't
listen,
back
I'm a
down.
student. I'm a
Don't
student.
back down from asking for the meeting, because you were going over the information that you would normally go over in your meeting on the phone, which isn't your style. But
Yeah.
you got to, I would say, ask for the meeting, let her reject it, right? If she says, no, can't do it, won't do it, well, maybe that's her response, right? But maybe her response is, okay, we can do that. I mean, who knows, right? I don't know.
No, honestly, when she said 6.25, and I was like, oh, and then I'm sitting there looking at like off 82 basis points.
Yeah.
Because we were having the conversation at about 1:00 on Tuesday. And I'm sitting there seeing the market getting destroyed.
Yeah, right.
You're right. I probably just got into phone jockey versus, hey, Alex, there's a lot of moving parts here. Could you meet me tomorrow?
Yes.
Could
you don't ask, you don't know, right?
Before you go to work. Yeah. By the way, guys, Michael may have got, let me say this at this point, flash forward, here's where she is. I send out updated estimate. Hey, good morning again. Molly just updated me. Congratulations on the contract. If you're okay, we'll send over. I mean, I just turned into a rocket mortgage. I've got double ear muffs on, and I've got optimal blue up.
Yeah.
Hi,
Sometimes
Brendan.
it happens.
Good. Thanks. I was in practice. Oh, trying to get a couple so that would be helpful. Just sent you an updated estimate. Great. Waiting for one more. Punt.
Not ideal.
Yeah, not ideal.
But
so, yeah.
It happens.
Well, anybody have any commentary on this? I haven't responded to her last text.
So I just closed. This is Amy Lorzell. I just closed the exact same situation about a month ago, where people were getting divorced and one was moving 1 block over.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you just need to get a letter from them almost real time.
Yeah.
That says they haven't filed divorce proceedings yet.
Yeah.
And then they had to qualify with both houses.
But by the way, Amy, I appreciate that. I work with a divorce planner I 100% know that that's the answer. And like I was posing to her that if no one knows, the underwriter will ask and we'll have to explain, because you can have domestic situations where people can separate and still stay married. And we've had that a bunch, you know, like 100%. This is a doable loan. I'm 100% aware of that. And she makes $15,000 a month and her current mortgage is only $2,300. So if she adds she's got enough in her DTI to get to like, I don't know, $7,000 a month in debt. So once I kind of ran the math in my head, I was like, back to you, Michael, like back to David. Hey, no problem. Or Andy, could be a problem. You guys follow, like, here's all the logic that's going through the sales process to go, okay, what is it that she wants to hear? By the way, Amy, thank you for sharing that, because like you obviously won that deal. Did you make it apparent to them, or were you getting shopped on that deal? Or was that kind of like, it was in your wheelhouse, they weren't shopping and they were just following your advice?
They weren't shopping. It was friends of mine, but it still
Gotcha.
was awkward.
Yeah. So my whole thing is now at this point, I mean, it's clear that she's shopping. I look at any Vanderbilt person that's like a coach or high profile doctor and know that like on their website is 11 different banks that want to offer them something that's discounted. So when after my first conversation, I had been deflated, Michael and everyone, and was like, I'm most likely not getting this deal. When it's, go ahead.
Yeah, we've all had them, right? But I think this is why we do these calls, is because if we could just pick up one or two little nuggets that, hey, maybe we get 1 out of 5 of those, right? I mean, we're not going to get 4 out of 5. We know that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I immediately went to my lowest comp plan, priced it at 98.5, and said, all right, here, roll the dice.
Yeah.
Hey,
right.
Pete, I missed the beginning of the story. Was this a like a neighbor of yours?
No, the neighbor is Molly. She's a realtor, works at Village with David Binkley. You know, she's just started her second career. She used to be a nurse. She played soccer at Vanderbilt. This is the Vanderbilt women's tennis coach. And I got the text, got your name from Molly. You know, we're looking at a house, need some financing options. And the initial call was 12 minutes.
Got it. Yeah, I'm good from there. Is she shopping with all local lenders, or is she like?
Yes.
She called Chase. She called Rocket.
No. She's shopping local. I think all Vanderbilt, and probably with her bank. And you know, I didn't get into the nitty gritty because in that initial call, I didn't sit there. Her personality wasn't going to be interrogated, in my opinion. Like if I had said, oh, by the way, like, oh, so
I got a thought.
Go ahead.
So my thought is reframing it, just because I'm 30,000 foot, right? She's a coach. She's a player. She's referred to you by her neighbor, which is obviously someone she could trust with something that's, you know, when you're a public figure and you're getting a divorce, it's you know, there's a certain level of like, you know, reputation, you know, someone's going to think about all those pieces. Sometimes you sell the hand and sometimes you sell the person across the table. Did you spend any time talking about being a team member and helping her, you know, map out a good plan and get to the other side with, you know, like, did you find out like a needs analysis and try to meet her where she was at, being a controller like she is, being a competitor like she is?
You know what? I mean, great point, because are you diving in more to like, hey, have you hired an attorney? You know, I've done this a lot and I have people that I trust. If you're interested in talking to anybody else, would that be the approach?
Like, where are you at with this? Are you in the early stages? Have you built yourself a team? I'm sure there's a lot of things to consider when you're getting a divorce.
Shane totally like completely missed that one. 100%. And by the way, I do have like a good attorney. I do have a good divorce planner. You know, I've got people that I could have easily inserted. I think what happened is the way,
like the owe it to yourself consultative approach when people are high profile, like, you know, you probably owe it to yourself, or you probably already know this, but you know, it's worth saying, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so good. So good. Thank you for the I'm the guinea pig this morning. Yeah.
That's good.
Well, here's the point. I guess at this point, if she's waiting for other estimates and she wants to make her decision today, I could try to jump on the phone and salvage anything because I feel like I'm on slippery rope. Hey, you're only as good as your last quote. And Michael, you just said it. The market's worsening today. So anything that I printed yesterday, I'm already at slim margin. So now it's like do loan for free or, tell her, hey, the market's worse and let me send you an updated, less good estimate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at this point, thank you. I think, like Michael said, ultimately the approach, Shane brought a good example. Andy brought a good example. Being able to, this goes back to Michael, when we went and saw Renee Rodriguez and went to Amplify. I think the key is, it's that hierarchy of fight or flight. Are you interested in them? Are they interested in you? And then are they fascinated by you? That's the pyramid, if you will, or up the ladder of like communication. And so maybe I just at a certain point I missed that being interested in her, and just right out of the gate missed it with the thing that Michael exposed about just a little bit more about, hey, I'm concerned about this. The thing that Shane exposed about, hey, she's a high profile person getting ready to go through a divorce. She owes it to herself a couple things. And
Yeah.
maybe that would have established a little more interest on her part. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and also too, think about it. You had no time to prepare, right? This is like Monday morning quarterback. Easy for us to say that, but you're getting the ring call out of the blue. Your realtor never set it up, right? So you're just having to think on your feet. And if if you just came out of a meeting with Mike Engel and you got a deal blown up, you might not be in that right frame of mind to.
Yeah.
You might not have been on your A game. I mean, who knows, right? So if you had the realtor that said, hey, by the way, Alex is going to be calling you this afternoon. Let me sort of tell you what's going on, right? You could have sort of put this, you could have formulated a plan prior to the call. So,
and that's,
I mean, those are tough.
By the way, 100% true. Molly didn't prep me and I got that text.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think you could have done the whole, Molly introduced you, what did Molly say about me? Molly and I have worked together a long time. I think we can handle this kind of situation delicately. Like, I think you could have used the team approach too with the Molly. I don't know how, is she close with Molly being her neighbor?
Well, Molly's my neighbor.
Your neighbor.
Yeah, and Molly's been a realtor for a year, so she knows that. Like, Molly's not a total pro, but Molly's aggressive. She's 40. She's got 3 kids. She was a nurse. She was a soccer player in Molly's a very direct person. So even though she's only been doing it a year, I would say she's very knowledgeable at what she's doing. And she works for a guy who's a pro. By the way, another good point, just saying, hey, Molly and I, here's the other thought, Michael, because you are right. I was a little off guard. I probably could have triangled a little better, like Shane's pointing out, and just, the team building piece. I think when I caught her, it was early afternoon, 1:00, and that the day, looking at the market, you're probably right. I'm trying to get into that headspace. So all of these things are, remember this, the initial lead that comes to you via text or phone call has no clue what you're walking out of, and they don't care. So it's up to us. It's up to us. And I say this to Mike, my ops manager, sometimes when he's frustrated at Andy, Rob, McCain, or Andy, and never at me. Like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea. I'll say this. You have no idea what they just walked out of. Like, they could have, you have no idea. They could have been in a realtor meeting. They could have had a lead that was like annoying them, and then like they're trying to have a conversation with you about a loan in process, and they're on 3 different wavelengths of thinking when they're talking to you. Because it's to be that consultant and the person up front that is, you know, ready for all of those signals to come out and to be able to say, you know, like, I'm going to take this approach, and be very tactful is why we get paid. You know, it is the difference. And I do think it matters what we say and how we listen.
Yeah. Anybody else on the call have any other ways that they would attack that or say? I'm just curious, because that was good stuff from Shane.
I always like asking about how their experience was the last time they got a loan, because they'll sometimes just give you a big nugget that was super, super stressful that you can attack.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
sure.
somewhere in there, Andy, I could have said, "Hey, Alex, when was the last time you got a loan?" Would that be the approach? Like somewhere in there, if I'm feeling like, oh shit, I'm being backed into a corner, you know, this isn't going well.
Yeah. What was your experience like the last time you got a mortgage? And, you know, what was the communication like? Did you experience any, you know, issues? What was that like for you?
Oh no, yeah, I think it was like 4 years ago. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, that's a tough answer.
I feel like that would have been the answer, but no, you know, maybe she would have said, "Oh, it was really hard," or "It was annoying." Here was one little thing that I forgot. When Molly had sent me the contract, I called her and I had said, "Hey, do you know if she's made up her mind? Like, I haven't heard from her for a day and a half." And then Molly was like, "Oh, just get in there and be direct and, you know, just connect and, you know, do your thing. You'll get the deal." And I'm like, connect? Like, this lady's like is as embraceable as a, you know, a nail sandwich. Like, all I can do is do text and phone calls. Like, it's not embrace. I just thought it was a funny, like, oh, you'll get her, schmoozer, you know. Now, granted, it's her friend from college, and now they're both, you know, 40 with kids. So I just thought it was kind of a funny little response to how the deal had been set up, because it certainly hadn't been set up with, "Hey, oh my God, Brennan's my friend, work with him, Alex, he's great, like he'll take care of you." Like, I don't think I got that kind of intro.
And how does she normally set you up? And it may not have worked with this specific borrower, but does she set you up the right way?
No, she doesn't. Every one of her leads has been very transactional.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a coaching opportunity there, right?
And trust me, I've tried with her, but it's like it's going to be her way.
Yeah, I get it.
She married the quarterback from Alabama, Brian Bergdorf. Yes, he won a national championship, and she has 3 daughters. She is a boss. We're talking about the realtor. Yeah. So she does it her way, and I just have to deal with her way.
Sure. At least you've tried.
I've tried. Okay. Hey, since this call was supposed to be about you guys, I'm making it about me. I have one more scenario that I would love your guys' feedback.
Cool.
So last Friday, I get a call from my best agent. "Hey, I'm locking down, this is super secret, a 210 unit conversion in Nashville. It's 150 million in condo sales. I think we're going to sell it out in the next 12 to 18 months. And I want you to be the lender." And I said, "Oh my God, we are so ready. We done." So Benton, you can post what we sent for her Tuesday meeting with the developer, which happened this past Tuesday. And in 54 minutes, I'm going to be on a call with the Compass marketing director of condo development. She's out of Chicago, and I guess being interrogated on something. So we sent over kind of the apartment is 55% rented, the developer, this is beautiful building in Nashville. It's one development. To me, it looks like a relatively easy conversion because there's not another annex. There's not it's not a condo hotel. They're not going to allow short-term rentals. It's a luxury apartment building that I just think that the rents that they thought they were going to get were not high enough. And so now they're looking at the shortage of properties in Nashville and saying, hey, if we sell this, we'll make so much more money than keeping it in our rental portfolio. So flash forward, had a good call with Jimmy Fitch because of Sam, and then the condominium, the PERS system with Fannie. Sam, it's actually pretty cheap because they don't charge you per unit. I've got most of the forms. It looks relatively straightforward, and if administratively we can submit this to Fannie, we can get a loan approval or a condominium approval. I don't know the timeline, but I would say relatively quickly. So here's the question, Michael. I pose it to you and anyone. I've kind of done my homework. We clearly don't have a very good non-warrantable in-house product. I called 2 other banks in town where I know a guy that runs the mortgage division for one bank, and I called another guy who's a VP at another bank. They both have portfolio non-warrantable product up to 80 that they can be, alternative sources. So what do you guys think? Like, you're in the driver's seat here. I'm getting ready to be interviewed in 50 minutes. I don't know what she's going to ask. I'm just going to be like David Goldberg. Yeah, we can do it. No problem. I'm not going to take that approach. I'm not going to take this could be difficult. What do you guys thought? Go ahead.
If you get it Fannie Mae approved, then would you need that backup non-warrantable option?
No, but here's the thing. There's 50. So, one important detail. They want to be able to get, the projection is out of the 110 renters, they're going to have an open house like on March 1. They want to have 42 contracts secured by April 15th. I don't know how they're coming up with that number. So they want to, like, one of the things is out of the gates, what can we offer the current renters in terms of financing right away to be able to close quickly and receive a 15% discount on the unit. Make sense?
Brendan, did you find out about the concentration limits?
For Fannie?
For us, how many loans we'll make into the project?
I talked to Jimmy about it. He talked to Chris. They said about 20 to 30, which, by the way, ultimately, as I've thought about it this week, I've said, here's the goal. If we're the in-house lender, and let's say we only do 20 deals, it's going to be a bit of a like, okay, what's your rate? I'm already pre-approved somewhere else. It'll be like that, right? Because the buyer's agents will be bringing in their buyers that ideally they already, most likely already have spoken to their lender. If we get a head start, Sam, because the developer says our lender, here's the credit or no deal, that would be ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the issue. I think more of the business that we'll pick up will be the peripheral. Hey, I'm not really interested in that, but thank you. You were so helpful. And then if me and the guys on the team are manning the marketing, hey, they want us to be able to be available, then we're going to pick up peripheral leads. And this is really, hey, I'm supporting my number one agent. Obviously, if we spend the money on the Fannie approval and the time, we want business. But if we're capped at a certain number, I'm totally okay with it. Meaning, Sam was saying basically that, hey, if this building fails and all of a sudden Mutual of Omaha has a bunch of these loans, that's a problem. And that's a problem for any lender. So anybody's thoughts on this, on how you would want to position yourself? Because apparently the lady that I'm speaking with, I looked on her LinkedIn. She's responsible for all of the Compass real estate. Apparently 2.2 billion in condominium sales and marketing with Compass. She's been there for 5 years. She's based her name is Heather something. She's based in Chicago.
So Brendan, one of the things that I would definitely say is, I mean, I know you don't want to come in there and scare them.
Heather Gustafson. Go ahead.
No, I mean, so the fact that I would say, hey, while I'm here local in Nashville, our company is based in Chicago, which is a very robust condominium market. So we know what we're doing when it comes to condos. That's definitely something I would say. And I would say, hey, guys, condos are very different. It's not that they're hard to do, but you got to know what you're doing. And, you know, anybody who's done a condo loan knows how much can go wrong. I would definitely attack it from the perspective of you need a great condo familiar lender, period.
Partner. Yeah. Well, and Sam, point taken. And I was absolutely going to say that. And the only real experience I have is back in the late 90s when I was still in Virginia. We did a ground up deal when I was at a bank, and I got some of the deals, and it was in Alexandria, and it was a 3-phase high rise. And, you know, it's funny that the process wasn't that much different then to get the Fannie Mae approval. You know, they haven't changed that much other than, like, obviously the PERS system is automated and you can upload all the docs and all the bullshit. So yeah.
And it's funny, Brendan, it's funny that you say that. The condo process got easier for a short while, but then because so many condos got screwed up beyond all recognition, they went back to the old way and then just automated PERS. So yeah, you're 100% right. Condos can go really bad.
I think that's a good approach, Sam. Good point. You need the experts working on it for you.
I mean, Heather, you know, it's funny. I mean, we've got experts in this field. I've got a guy named Michael Anthony in Atlanta. I've got some consultants. I was just on a call this morning, a high-powered call. I've got a guy named Shane in Seattle. I mean, he's incredible. He's going to be a consultant we call on.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm focused more on the mechanics of it, but Sam or Brendan, can't we sell off some of these to increase our servicing cap, or is it not a servicing cap?
No, again, it's, you know, when you make a loan, if you're selling it into the agency or an agency servicer, there's still, I'm sure, some exposure limits. But I mean, what did Brendan? It's 25%. So 25% of that building we could get. I mean, that would be a huge win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had that call today, Brendan.
Excuse me?
You have that call today?
Yeah, I have it at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
You know, again, Chris would get on that call with you.
Not a bad idea. Yeah, I kind of need to hang up, take a shower, and get to the office for my expenses.
Hey, it's 10:15. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
9:15.
Hey guys, next week I'm gonna open up some of my bank statements and overdrafts, and we're gonna go through my finances, and I'm gonna open it up to you guys to see what things I could do better to improve my credit. I'm gonna have my property manager Macy on the call, and I'm gonna need some help with her too. Ready? Michael calls me, Brendan, like, I thought we were doing like Smart Start Academy and things to help loan officers. No, Michael, the Friday call now is about me. It's about my problems, the deals.
Hopefully we pulled out one or two things we could all use, because we all have those kind of customers once in a while.
Well, and what we promise on this call is something real. And as soon as I saw that lady's text this morning, I was like, man, how many people get deals like this and we get pissed off? And
I do.
And obviously with the condo stuff, I think it's funny. It's like, any of you that are getting bigger opportunities, I mean, obviously it's nice for my realtor to say, I want you to be the lender. I think she's super stressed out. I've tried to communicate with her this week. You know, I texted her Tuesday, hey, congrats, this is going to be awesome. I'm trying to be a cheerleader, but now it's like what Michael and Sam and Justin, like, here's all the technical parts of being the in-house lender. And this shit gets real fast. So it's fun. It's fun. And it's also going to be a shit ton of work, assuming we get it. It's like, okay, here comes the grind. And Rob, you can relate to this, being the in-house lender for Legacy South. That's where the work starts, you know? And it's like, this is fun until it's not fun. And then it's work.
Well, Brendan, the thing that I was going to say, what did you tell me was 100 and give or take $150 million in sales?
Yeah, that's their projected if they sell it the per square foot that they're thinking.
So $150 million in sales. They
Like
may be paying her.
per.
They may be paying her a 2% co-op. So keep in mind that for her, I think this is a $3 million gross payday. It's a lot of pressure.
I think she priced it full boat.
Yeah, I mean, then it's $4.5 million for her.
Yep.
So she's stressed out like me on, signing day.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. And she doesn't want to hear no. She wants to hear we've got the product and we can help. And that's where Benton and I, when we ran the pro forma and he showed the little thing, it was like any of the rental conversions, their rent's way too low. Like it's like, ooh, rent versus own. Here's a terrible option for you, current renter. So I think I want to support her. And if we have to, this Heather lady could say, hey, sorry, Brendan, you'll be one of 4 lenders. Here's how we're going to play it. Or she says, this is great, and you're the lender. Or I call you guys next week and I say, hey, it didn't go well. They had already pre-planned 2 other banks. And because we, didn't have an immediate portfolio product that I could send her the guidelines, she said no.
And listen, in the beginning, hey, listen, Heather, just curious, what's really the most important thing to you when working with and selecting a lender for this project?
Well, here's the thing. Heather's only involved based on my knowledge because Katie brought the developer to the scene and Katie is the realtor. And
yeah, okay.
Heather handles like the national marketing. So part of my thing was just going to be smiley and say, hey, tell me, I looked you up on LinkedIn, pretty impressive resume. Like I'm new to, maybe not new, but I've worked in condos my whole life. Like, tell me your role. How do you help Katie and how does this all work? Something like that to find out
look, when in doubt, ask questions.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, get her talking.
Yeah. This is awesome.
Cool.
I mean, in the end, it's what you say, right? Matters. So,
that's right.
All right, Michael, we will put the dartboard out with the roadmap to success for loan officers, and wherever the dart lands, you, me, and Benton will advertise next Friday's call a little more in advance about the topic of whatever we're going to work on.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right, guys. Happy selling. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, everyone who joined. Amy, Justin, everyone who contributed. Appreciate it.
Everybody have a great day. Great weekend.
All right.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.